Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And I'm back on Stampede Park. What a difference a couple of weeks makes. As a couple of weeks ago, it was definitely a lot warmer and less snow, but we're just still getting out of the deep freeze now in the middle of February on the Family Day long weekend. So let's pan over and take a look at some more demolition progress of the Stampede Corral. And you can still see the mural, but Guy Wiedek, one of the founders of the greatest outdoor show on earth, on the top part of the mural, you can see is chipped away now. And as I did like I did last time, you can see the card up in the corner right about there on the video that I made a couple weeks ago when I was on site to capture the demolition progress. Well, here's a couple weeks later, and I'm almost going to have to say, because of the deep freeze, maybe this slowed down the demolition, because I was seeing a lot of progress with the Facebook groups that you could see the gradual tearing down of the structure. And I think because of the deep freeze, maybe the demolition was halted, because I was thinking a couple weeks ago when I was here, this would have been the last time that I saw the mural. Well, saw it in its full glory as I've seen over the years. And actually, Cappy Smart, I briefly went to the elementary school in my home neighborhood of Marble Park. So here's Cappy Smart one last time. I'm wondering if whatever they're going to do, I wonder if they'll recreate this mural somewhere else, either in the new BMO Centre. But it's definitely sad to see, but understand. But the one thing that I didn't thought of a couple weeks ago when I was on site to capture the progress, well, one thing, obviously already I mentioned the plus 15 is gone. As you can see, this is all open, and pan over to the Scotiabank Saddle Dome, and you see the plus 15 entrances. That's usually where I go to an event at the Saddle Dome. But I forgot to mention that if you look at older pictures of the Stampede Corral, that the smokestack was gone, and it was gone before they started the demolition of the old Stampede Corral, the old barn that's hosted many sports teams in the past that I've already talked about in my Remember the Calgary series. And it just still blows my mind that when the Atlanta Flames moved here from Atlanta to become the Calgary Flames called this building home for 3 years before moving into, their current home, the good old Scotiabank Saddle Dome. And when you look at the long-term plans here at Stampede Park with the Calgary Municipal Land Corporation, it looks like we're going to be opening up this area in the longer term. And one of the plans is that we're going to be eventually saying goodbye to the Scotiabank Saddle Dome, and just north of here where the Saddle Dome is right now of Stampede Park, here's going to eventually be the new event center for the future home of the Calgary Flames. But you could say roughly around this view, before I move on to other parts in the park, this is one of the renderings that you could see. You could see that rendering right there. This is where roughly going to be that view, right at the steps of the Scotiabank Saddle Dome in 2024. That's that view of the BMO Centre. So this is the first view. It's you can see part of the mural is gone, but when I go around, you can see that the roof of the Stampede Corral is no more. So I'll just keep making my round and capture more footage, and I'll be back with some more video clips and more narration. So I'll see you. Back with this view a couple weeks later, and you can obviously tell it's much quieter. As you can see over here, the cranes are not running as they were a couple weeks ago. You don't hear any the construction noises or demolition noises that's associated on site, but you can really see it's really opened up where the former Hall A and the entrance is, where it's gone now for the Stampede Corral. And you can see, and also some of the pictures I already shared, that the roof is gone, and you can see the openings through the loading docks. But you can definitely say this will be the last time you're going to see the old arena with the current arena, the Scotiabank Saddledome. And it's definitely sad to see, but it's definitely part of the progress in the long-term plan to develop this part of the city and open up Stampede Park a lot more. And the other thing that always stands out with this view with the Stampede Corral, now you don't see the plus 15 when you get off of the LRT and walk through, because there used to be a plus 15 you walk along. Well, you can see right in the middle of the Stampede Corral, you see that humble street light. You gotta wonder how long that street light has been there, because I know that if you look on YouTube, and it's a CBC story where actually it talked about the Olympic Saddledome opening up, and it was ahead of the 1988 Winter Olympics, and it was a CBC story where it was open to the public. People were looking at the Saddledome for the first time, and people were amazed by the spectacle of the building it was. But I remember seeing at the end of the clip, and it was a plus 15, but it wasn't sheltered yet. I remember seeing an end of a clip, if you can go see that video, that you see people just walking away from the building, and you still see that humble street light. It's always been there, and I wonder if they could recreate that somehow. Don't know. That's just one thing that's always stood out. It's humbly just always been there at the side of the Stampede Corral. But this will be probably for sure the last time you're going to see the old arena with the current arena, back to back together. And you just don't see this view even during the Stampede in the summer, because obviously you got all the the midway, the rides, the the kiosks or whatever set up, and with hundreds of thousands of people. And speaking of that, hopefully we'll get to do that this year in 2021, depending on how the situation evolves with COVID-19, if it ever gets better and more vaccinations. But that's another story. But it's one last view of seeing the Scotiabank Saddledome, and of course still stands out that the plus 15 entrance is floating, and you could see it's all weathered where it was sheltered. And the old arena and the current arena, you're not going to see this view ever again. And I understand why it's happening, but it's still sad. But this look is going to forever change the next few years, and I probably will come down and capture more footage as construction and demolition progresses. So let's take a look right here one more time, and you can obviously see the skyline a lot opened up with no more obstruction in the way, and the Calgary Tower. So capture a few more pictures and get one final view of how the corral looks like now with no roof, and the walls are gone. Now it's down to 3 walls. So I'll see. Well, but this for a view 2 weeks later. No more roof. No, you don't see the structure of the overhead view of the old barn for the Stampede Corral, and still reflecting on the north end where I caught those last 3 games of the Calgary Hitman Corral series. This will be my second last video clip on this site visit. I should know better that I like this view as well, as you definitely also see the view of the old arena and the current arena a lot better in this view. But it's definitely a lot different now. It almost looks like an outdoor football stadium. almost like McMahon Stadium, but you can definitely see that none of the rows are there anymore, and this is definitely a different progress. 2 weeks later, well, it gives us also some more bonus footage of Stampede Park as pan around. I mean, you could see the teepee where the entrance, and then you got the Coke stage where all the musical acts, and I always have to highlight the Calgary Tower, even though it's not the tallest building in the Calgary skyline. I still say it's one of them iconic buildings that always highlights the Calgary skyline. And you can pan around, you could see the Alberta Casino and the Big Four building, named after the Big Four that started the Calgary Stampede. And then just pan around some more, try to not get too much of the sun. You can see there's the grandstand where the rodeo and the chucks happen every day during the greatest outdoor show on earth. And then this is the fairly new Nutrien Western Event Center that was built the last few years. But you could definitely see kind of the old and the new of the Stampede Park. And then the fact that it's not the Stampede right now, you can get the whole view of the Victoria Park area, and how you can see what Stampede Park looks like, not in July when the greatest outdoor show on earth is happening. Just this is where you see all the rides, the Ferris wheel, and now back where the corral, where the mural is, are going to be gone soon. That's where the kids midway usually is. And also going back, you got the WestJet where you can ride along and see views of Stampede Park. And I just keep saying, hopefully you'll see this live and bustling in July this year. We definitely missed it in 2020, but going back to the focus task at hand, gonna miss the old Stampede Corral. I mean, 70 years. It's been a part of Calgary's history, sports, pop culture. Another thing I also forgot to mention, if you also look on YouTube, that Calgary was home of the 1988 Winter Olympics, the 15th edition of the Winter Olympics. Even the Stampede Corral even humbly hosted some skating events during the Winter Olympics. So there's some other tidbit as well. There is one more video view, which would be the last view overhead, where you can see what's left of the Stampede Corral. And I'm seeing different views of the Scotiabank Saddledome that I've never seen before, because now it's more open until they put in the new BMO Centre Expansion. So I'll just keep capturing more footage and close it out. And I just want to say, gotta keep saying goodbye to the old Stampede Corral. So I'll see you in. How about this for a different view? You can see the Stampede Corral. I'm actually up on the production stage that points towards the Coke stage, and actually walking up just the stairs a little bit and the ramp, you definitely get to see this view overhead, the walls blocking the construction site. But this is definitely another overhead view of the Stampede Corral. These are views of the views of the Saddledome that, from this perspective, I've never seen before. From this view, because of there were structures in the way, but you can see all these cranes. They're all taking a break for the long weekend. But here's the last part of the corral. And you don't see the structure of the old barn as much anymore, because the roof is gone, and you can see all you have is the the north end, where I did catch these games at the Calgary Hitman Corral series. And then this is looking east, and then there's the south end. And right, this view where you're looking at, this is where that big horse entrance used to be, but obviously that's long gone when they started the demolition of the Stampede Corral. And I know that also at those entrances that now is sheltered in with the convention center built around it, that there's those murals. And I have to dig through my pictures that I've taken at the Calgary Hitman Corral series, and if I can find it, I can put it in this video, or I might have already done it as well, that they couldn't save those murals, but apparently they're going to recreate it some way, and I'm not too sure what the eventual plan that they're going to put in this new BMO, or the BMO expansion, that they need to make reference to this building, the old Stampede Corral, or put any relics that was in the corral in the new building, or make references to it. I also like to make a suggestion that when they build the new event center, which will eventually be the home of the Calgary Flames, as well as the Hitmen and the Roughnecks, that will eventually replace the Saddle Dome, which I always say it's a uniquely shaped building, but fortunately the roof is too low, and we have a a much lower bowl compared to other NHL rinks in the National Hockey League. That's not feasible longer term. That I would like to see a museum built in this new arena, make references to, let's say, the Stampede Corral and all the history of the teams that obviously have more documented footage than I found from my Remember the Calgary series. But that's the beauty of social media and YouTube and digital media, that I just feel it's important for me to say goodbye to the Stampede Corral and capture footage and digitally preserve it for years down the road. Maybe people that are not born yet understand that this arena used to be here, and it still blows my mind that the Calgary Flames NHL was hosted in this building, as well as many other teams. So I guess also, now that I bring up this view, this is that view that if you're in the Stampede Corral, that's actually where the that's the Zamboni entrance that comes out. And the other thing that's very, very unique with the Stampede Corral, that's different than with more NHL rinks or hockey rinks in general, that you had the benches on both sides. That you have the visitors bench and the home bench, and they face each other. And that's one of the reasons that if you look in the concourse, that's where the locker rooms, the officials' room. I mean, now how it's built is that, for example, in the Saddledome, you have to climb up, and you're in the middle of the building, that the bowels of the arena is below you, while here in the Stampede Corral, the bowels of the arena is right where the concourse is. So that's the other thing too, is in the previous video that my mother shares that story about that Wayne Gretzky, and I was in the womb, and a couple must be people associated with the Edmonton that pushed her to the back of the wall so Wayne Gretzky can come crying to the Edmonton Oilers locker room. And when I did the Calgary Hitman Corral series, it's high-fiving or fist-pumping the players coming out. I just thinking back then, when the Flames moved here from Atlanta, just think, you could have been in the concourse at the same time as Wayne Gretzky, as already mentioned, Guy Lafleur of the Montreal Canadiens, or Michel Goulet of the Quebec Nordiques, or how about Brian Trottier and the dynasty of the New York Islanders? That just wouldn't happen today. There's no way you have an arena that is that small that you can fist pump Sidney Crosby or Alexander Ovechkin or Connor McDavid, or play locally home with Jacob Markstrom, Johnny Gaudreau, or Sean Monahan, or Mark Giordano. That just wouldn't happen anymore. But it's just important to document the history. But it's sad to say goodbye to the Stampede Corral, and it's definitely a different view to see. So I'll capture a few more pictures. And so I say thanks for watching. As I always say, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, home of Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, I mostly do talk Calgary sports on my YouTube channel, and I also do a variety of non-sports content like personal vlogs, attempt to comedy, and I also do share my experiences on the road or a sporting event. And being out on site video like this is kind of mashing in a few elements, talking about Calgary sports. I'm on the road, and it's nice to just get out of the house, and we keep seeing all the progress photos on those Facebook groups. But yeah, just pan around from this view, that those cranes are resting right now, but there is a little more demolition to go and clean up the site and prep for the eventual expansion of the BMO Centre. And Stampede Park, it's not going to look the same anymore as during the Stampede. I always remember going to this building for dog shows or any other special events, and just it's a nice little intimate arena that we're not going to have that experience anymore at a bigger scale. other than, you know, even modern rec centers just don't have that same experience anymore. So I just wish that, throwing it back to the future reference, I wish I had a DeLorean and bring it up to 88 and go back in time to see this building jumping back in the day, or see what it was like to watch a Calgary Flames game in the old Stampede Corral. So I'll say thanks for watching, and I'll share a few more pictures. Other than that, I'll see you next time.